Hey, what's going on, everybody? Stanley Parrish here, Pixel Outflow Studios. Welcome back. I am back with another tutorial, Photoshop tutorial. And today I'm going to show you guys how to remove the background from your photos. I'm going to show you two ways to do it, my two favorite ways. As we know in Photoshop, there are a million different ways that you can go about doing things, but I'm going to show you two ways. So let's get right into it. The first way is using the pen tool. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a copy of my layer first. You can do that by hitting Control J. Okay. And then I'm going to hide my original layer. And I'm going to get my pen tool. And this is not a tutorial on how to use the pen tool. So I hope that you have an understanding on how to use it. If you don't, I'll probably make a tutorial on that later. But until then, you can check out YouTube and just search for Photoshop pen tool tutorial or something. I'm pretty sure you'll get a lot of results. So I'm going to go ahead and get to it. I'm going to zoom in. And I'm going to start right here on her back with my pen tool. And I'm just going to trace around the edges. And here we go. If you know how to use the pen tool, then you know how fun this can be, right? And we're just gonna go along the edges, just trace around the edges. And normally I try to stay on the inside of the edge. I don't try to go on the outside too much, because if you do, you can get some of that background in your selection, and you don't want that. So I'm gonna try to keep it as clean as possible around the edges. And bam, here we are, back where we started. Okay, I'm going to zoom out so you can see what we did. And there's a selection that we made with the pen tool. So now I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to make a selection. And the feather radius is just, it's all about how soft you want your edges to be. So if you want the edges to be hard, then you want to leave your feather radius at 0. But I want my edges to be kind of soft. So I'm gonna just leave it at 1. And that's just gonna soften my edge, my selection just a little bit. I'm going to hit OK, and I could just copy her to a new layer. I can just hit Control C and Control V for paste. You can go up here to edit, and you see right here where it says paste, is Control V is the shortcut. So what it did, it copied that selection to a new layer. Okay, so there's the selection right there. So, but I don't want to do it that way. I actually want to use layer mask. That's how I work. So I'm gonna right click, make selection, feather radius at 1, and I'm gonna hit my add new layer mask icon at the bottom here. So as you can see here, it applied a layer mask to the layer. So the background is still there. It's just hidden. You know, we didn't completely delete it. It's still there. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, I'm going to make a copy of this layer, just in case. I'm going to hide it. So the next thing we want to do, I'm going to go down, I'm going to zoom in. And you can see here, you can still see the background at the bottom through her hair at the bottom right here. So, and the way I'm going to get rid of that, I mean, you can use your eraser tool to get rid of it, or you can make another selection if you want to get rid of it. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my lasso tool, and I'm just going to select this bluish area right here where you can see where the background is. So we're just going to make a selection. Just like that. And then I'm going to use the color range. You go to select at the top, and then you want to go to color range. Okay. And what's going on here? Wait a minute. Okay, there we go. So you want to select that blue color. Right, I'm gonna say it right here. And then you just want to play around. You want to play around with the fuzziness. So you don't want to crank it up too high, because see, now, you know, everything that's white is going to be selected. So you can see her hair is kind of, you want the hair to be like black, just like that. So that way you're telling Photoshop, hey, I don't want this selected. I just want everything in white to be selected. So okay, I think that's pretty good. Okay, so I think that's pretty good. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna hit OK. You can see here how it selected everything that was in that color range. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit Control H just to hide that selection. It's still there. We're just gonna hide those dotted lines. And I'm gonna feather it. I'm gonna feather this selection. I'm gonna go to Select, Modify, Feather. And because when I hit delete, I want the I want it to be kind of soft. You know, I don't want to have any hard edges around her hair. So I'm going to say maybe I'm going to change this to maybe 0.5. Hit OK. And I'm going to hit delete. No, actually, we don't want to hit delete. You want to hit, we're just going to paint with black. So, you know, when you're dealing with layer mask, anything that you paint with black is going to be concealed. Anything you paint with white is going to be revealed. So I'm going to fill this selection with black on my layer mask. And bam, it's gone. We're going to zoom out. I think that did a pretty good job. I mean, you can go in, clean up the edge a little bit with the brush tool, and just paint with black along the edge. Paint this part back in. All right. Okay, so now we're going to go to this area here by her chin, and we're going to remove that the same way, this green color here. So I'm just going to make a selection just like we did before around the green area. Okay, then I'm going to go to select color range, and I'm going to click the green color. Okay, I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave my fuzziness around 61, and I'm going to hit OK. Okay, let's go back. Select color range. It didn't really select everything, so I'm gonna hit this middle eyedropper tool here to add a color, just so we can get more of that green in our selection here. Right in here, yeah, I think that'll do it. So I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to say select, modify, and feather, and I'm going to choose maybe let's say 1. Like I said before, we want those edges to be soft. Okay, so now I'm just going to go back to my layer mask and fill that area with black. There we go. And I'm just going to go back in with my brush tool and just clean it up a little bit. Uh-oh. Alright, there we go. I think that's pretty good. Okay, so now we want to go to the top here so we can get rid of this blue color. We're going to do the same thing. We're just going to make a selection. Around the blue part. Go back to select color range. Okay. I'm going to set the fuzziness to 38. And I'm going to feather this selection too. I'm going to go to select, modify, feather. I'm going to leave it at 1. And then I'm going to go back to my layer mask and we're going to fill this area with black. And there we go. just gonna clean the edges up just a little bit with my brush tool. Just brush along the edges here. That's pretty much it, guys, for the pen tool. Like I said, you definitely want to take a little bit more time on this to clean up the edges. You can see here on the side, we still have some of the background showing on the side here. So I'm just going to take my eraser tool and just, my brush tool, and I'm just going to paint black to hide it. Alright, so now the next thing you want to do is just replace the background. You can use whatever background you want to use, but I have a picture here already. We're just going to drag it over, resize it, bring it down, and there you go. You can even add a lens blur to it. Where is it? Lens, blah, 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 blur, lens blur. Crank up the radius to about 30. Or 50. Okay, I think that's good. Bam. Alright guys, so that's how you remove the background from your photos using the pen tool. Okay, so up next we have the quick selection tool, which is much faster than using the pen tool. So a lot of times, you know, if I want to do something quick, I use the quick selection tool. I mean, it's real good for cutting out hair too. So let's get to it. All right, so I got my quick selection tool selected right here, and I'm just going to zoom in, and I'm just going to make a quick selection around her, just like that. So I'm just going to keep dragging along her body here. You see, Photoshop is doing a good job. It knows, you know, where the edges are. It's like magic. All right, so okay, I think that's looking pretty good. Gotta get more of the fingers over here. You can see Photoshop is finding those edges for you. Okay, so now we made a quick selection with the quick selection tool. Now we want to go to up here where it says select and mask. This is where we're going to refine our edges. So I'm going to click that. Okay, and it takes you to this new menu here. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of these back to 0. Those were some settings that I used before. So we're going to just 0 those out. I'm going to zoom in. So you can see the edges look kind of rough here. So we kind of want to smooth that out. And you can see over here to the right, you have edge detection, opacity, smart radius, global refinements, all that good stuff. But where it says smooth, I'm going to change that to maybe like 15 just to smooth it out. Okay, we're going to feather it a little bit, maybe 1 pixel for the feathering. And I'm going to bring my selection in where it says shift edge. You can expand your selection or you can make it smaller. So I'm going to make it smaller just to bring it in a little bit. I'm going to up my contrast. Okay, so yeah, at the top here on the right side where it says properties, I had where it says show original, I had that checked. So you definitely want to uncheck that next time you're working on this. So I got the smoothness set to 51. Let's bring it down a little bit. I'm gonna bring it down to maybe 20. Yeah. Okay, I think that's looking pretty good. Maybe want to up the contrast. I'm going to change the feather to 0.5. Maybe up the contrast to maybe 15 or 20. Okay, now we're going to use the refined edge brush. On the left side over here, you'll find the refined edge brush. And you just want to brush along the areas that you want to delete. I'm just going to brush right outside the hair right here. And let's see what happens. I think I need a faster computer. I know a lot of people that I know that use this tool. A lot of people have problems with this tool being very slow. I don't know why. I wish Photoshop would fix it. You can see, you can see here it's still spinning. It's still doing something. They're still working on it. It shouldn't take that long. I don't know why it does that. Okay, so that's that. I'm gonna come down here to get rid of this blue area here. It's spinning, it's doing something. Yeah, so if you're working on a large image, you know, it's probably going to slow this tool down just a little bit. So I'm going to come on this side, and we're going to get rid of the green. Come on, let's go. It's like super slow, man. I don't know why. As you can see, it's finding those edges. Okay. Again, we're going to paint along this area where it's blue, where you can see the sky or whatever that is behind her. So you're going to brush over, like I said, brush over the area that you want to delete. So you're telling Photoshop, hey, I don't want this part, delete it for me. You know, it's going to find those edges for you. But you're still going to have those hair strands visible. Okay. And that's pretty much it, guys. I'm coming along this side too. Delete this part. You know, you can definitely take more time on your photo. I'm just doing this just to illustrate how to use this tool. So I'm not trying to get it perfect. There we go. Come on. Yeah, you definitely want to play around with this to see what works for you. So I think that's looking pretty good. And I'm just going to hit OK. And there we are. And you can go back in and clean it up a little bit. I'm just going to paint with white just to bring some of this back. Bring some of the details back. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. You can bring the other background back, and there we go. And that's how you use the quick selection tool. Go in and erase along that edge right there just to hide some of that. So there we go. Those are the two ways that I use to remove the background from my photos. The pen tool, the quick selection tool, they will be your best friend, I promise. So I hope you learned something. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. I appreciate you guys for watching. If you have anything that you want me to cover, if you have any suggestions or any questions, just let me know. Leave them down in the comments below. I'll be sure to check them out. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Stanley Parish, Pixel Outflow Studios.